Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. Harry kind of represents what part of a vision that we had back through the years of recruiting amazing talent to this state. He happened to follow his amazing talent, his wife, to come work at one of the other great corporate entities that we were able to lure up to this area earlier. And but it's a great pleasure for me to be back into Plano, and as I'm finishing up my period as governor and working with this company, I don't think it's a coincidence that my governorship pretty much started with Toyota, and as I come to the end of it, some 14 years later, I'm finishing with Toyota. And it's been a great partnership, and it's been a fabulous group of people to work with. I want to point out Dan Friedkin, who has been he was part of that vision that we had some decade plus ago, and he's also representative of what the Toyota mindset is about giving back to community, Jim. And he's served nobly and well for so many years as the chairman of the Parks and Wildlife Commission, is now the chairman emeritus. So Dan, thank you for your continued service to this state. For those of you who are new to the state, I want to share with you there is one surefire way to fire up an audience. How about them Cowboys? See, after that, it doesn't make any difference what I say. Everybody's going to have a smile on their face, and they're going to be happy with it. They'll love it. And there's a lot to love today. There is a lot to love about today. As we officially welcome Toyota's North American headquarters to the Lone Star State, as I shared with you, this company has been a significant part of the story of Texas over the last 10 plus years. As you saw in one of the videos, I helped break that ground on that plant that's currently producing the Tundra that I drove up in 2003 back in San Antonio. And also got the privilege of driving the first Tacoma off the line in that plant a couple of years later. And in many ways, Toyota really personifies what we had hoped to achieve. As we talked about how do we make Texas more competitive. And I know there's a couple of people that I want to point out here. Former Senator Shapiro is here in this audience. Senator, thank you for being a great friend in that process. Angie Chin Button is still there now and a supporter of the economic development programs. We have Ken Paxton, who is in this area, and he's been a great help and a supporter of that process. But for Toyota, you realized at a very early stage about what we were doing, and you also recognized our efforts to make our economic climate more business friendly. And as I share with people, this is not difficult. The difficult part is to find men and women like these that I pointed out who have the courage to implement tax policies, regulatory policies, legal policies, and education policies that allow for the skilled workforce that you all must have to bring your company to move it across the country in this case. And I know that wasn't easy, Jim, as we had these conversations about picking up and moving. And I think one of the major aspects of that, and you, Mike, you made reference to this in your remarks about what you found here, what your employees find here. And it goes back to one of the most powerful quality of life issues is the cultural arts. And what has occurred in this state over the course of the last decade has been nothing less than stunning when you think about it. In this region that we're in, Fort Worth's built a new museum of modern art in the last decade. The Basses built one of the most tremendous symphony halls in the world. The Kimball has expanded its footprint by an extraordinary amount. The Fort Worth Zoo, one of the great zoos in the world. And Dallas has added 2 performing arts facilities during this period of time. The AT&T, the Myersons, the Perot's just finished one of the great natural science museums in the world. The Nashers relocated their sculpture garden. American Film Institute relocated from California to Texas. And 68-acre cultural arts district in Dallas, the largest geographical cultural arts district in America. And if you leave this area to go across some of the other places, you'll find those cultural arts are exploding and expanding in those places. Matter of fact, this next weekend, the American U.S. Grand Prix will be held in Austin, Texas. If you like Formula One racing, the only place in North America you can go is in Austin, Texas this weekend. And in Houston, Texas tonight, there are more theater seats available than any other city in America outside of New York City. And you can actually afford them there versus New York City. But the point is that what we've been able to create here in the last decade has been stunning. And Toyota has been a part of that. I wanted to come today to say thank you. Thank you to the men and women of Toyota. Thank you, Dr. Toyota, for having the faith that we could live up to what we said we would do. And Texas has done that. And I know that's been, and again, I go back, Jim, to the conversations that we have, to the men and women who really weren't sure. You know, was this the right move? And I know that that was, you all spent a lot of time, you thought about it, you prayed about it, but I looked at this, and I don't think this is a little too much of a stretch, but there have been people in this country, and it's that pioneer spirit of how do you better yourself. I'm pretty sure Lewis and Clark had a few considerations that this may not work out well for them, but it did. That spirit that exudes in this country, that actually I think personifies what Texas is all about. Now, I won't say that you all did this, but when Davy Crockett decided he was going to leave Tennessee to come to Texas, he stood on a courthouse steps and made his farewell speech, and he said, "You all may go to hell, I'm going to Texas." Now, I know for a fact you didn't do that. You were gracious, but the fact is, this place has always drawn men and women of courage and of vision. And Toyota is just the latest in that great migration to the state of Texas. And I want to say to you, thank you for doing that. What has occurred here in the last decade has been nothing less than stunning from an economic standpoint, as well as the expansion of the cultural arts. Just this last month, a new record was set in this state for the most jobs created from September to September, September 13 to September 14, some 413,000 new jobs created in the state of Texas. And every one of those jobs has a ripple effect. There's some young Texan who maybe a decade ago, their family didn't think that they really would have an economic chance. Because of what our friends have done together, and we get it, it's the people of this state that make these things happen. Government's a partner, just as we're a partner in this project. We're also partners in creating this environment where the young men and women know that they're going to have access to places where they can improve their education. We've had a 118% increase in Hispanic population in our higher education establishments. There are young people who 5 years ago didn't think their economic future might be that bright. Today are living in a new 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, making over $100,000 in the energy industry in this state, talking about where their children are going to go to college. You see, that's what Texas is about. Toyota saw that. And Toyota wanted to be a part of that. It's about building a community. And I will suggest to you not a better community in the world than Plano, Texas. I will put it up against any, and we have some fabulous ones in this state. But it's that competition that makes Texas great. It's that history that we can look back on and be proud of. It's the identity of this town. It's this source of civic pride, Mr. Mayor. If nothing else, today's festivities prove to any of those who might have had a question about whether relocating to the Lone Star State was really the best thing for them. And they found that the friendliest state in the country is just that, a great and extraordinary place to settle down. This place is about neighbor helping neighbor. And whether it's in good times or bad, the men and women of Toyota will find that this was one of the great decisions that was made in this country's history. Thank you for making it. God bless you. And through you, may God continue to bless the great state of Texas.